And hi, everyone. This is Waylena again here at the Staerkel Planetarium. Let me go ahead and switch it over there. Yay. Hi. And here just to bring you along on a journey of some of the types of things that I do here to share it with you. I was planning on talking about one thing, but an idea that I got last week while showing some of my favorite websites that gave me, oh, I just totally went a different direction. So I promise I will show Issa Sky and a few other sites next time. Let me go ahead and just a few reminders about things going on with the planetarium. So let me switch to, there it is. Okay. So this is our website, which you can get to if you go to the bottom of the Parkland website, go to where it says Parkland Presents. And I'm just going to go to events, to our calendar. So we are in our summer schedule. Um, our offices are closed during the day on Fridays. And, whether we're here the rest of the time is hit and miss because we've got a lot of different travel plans and things that we're working around. We do have, instead of the Saturday kids shows, we do have matinee shows. So currently, let me see there, currently Tuesday afternoons and Thursday mornings are the shows aimed more at kids. And then Friday night, we have spring prairie skies, and then we'll switch to summer prairie skies. And Mayan archaeoastronomy is the current 8 o'clock program. So hope you can join us for some of those. Also, reminder that you can, let me see if I have it there. Yes, you can, if you're interested in running a telescope, we do rent out telescopes, and it's very reasonable. What is it there? $10 a night or $15 for a weekend. However, you have to let us know ahead of time and arrange a time to meet with us because we need to go over it, over the usage, and check out all the materials with you. And we just want to make sure that we have someone here to work with you on that. So, yeah, please no last minute because it's really tough to accommodate. Let me go ahead and switch over to something that I showed last week. So I was just showing some of my favorite websites, right? The ESO.org for the European Southern Observatory was one of my favorites. And I came across this, set of images put into an infographic showing the image processing workflow for one of the telescopes. And you see a lot of the same kind of techniques going all along. You've got to you've got the raw data, then you've got to even out the darkness and the lightness, the contrasts of the images, got to stitch them together. And then you've got to assign colors because they're all black and white images, shades of gray really. And you've got to assign the colors to them, then you blend them together to bring out the detail that you want. And I mentioned how a lot of times I'll take an image like that, and instead of just showing it up there on the planetarium ceiling on the dome, I'll split it into pieces that I could then use as a slideshow, stepping through them one at a time. Or sometimes it's kind of neat to be able to just spread it out around the dome. And that brings me to, I can show some pictures. So I did do this. And I took some pictures. First, I took a picture of, let me go ahead and make this big. I promise it'll get big. There we go. Okay, so on the dome, this I took with the camera. It was kind of, it looks distorted depending on where you're sitting in the room. And usually that's not a problem, but I just have an easier time with it if I'm able to show them one at a time or spread them out and then just point to the ones as I'm talking to them or talking about them to everyone. Let me see. This was another angle, the same image, just taken from a different position. And the information about the image I was able to get because this is, I'm probably not even supposed to show that, but that's me selecting it after I had downloaded it through the interface for our Digistar system. It's amazing capability where you can just right there click and it downloads it from from a cloud set up by Amazon Sutherland, our Digistar vendor, amazing. And it comes with a description built in. Oh, so easy to work with. Now, this next photo here is one that I took. You can even see an exit sign there, just of the images up there in the dome after I spread them out. Then I was able to use the same description from the one that I downloaded through the Digistar. So that's pretty awesome. And didn't this look great? This looked amazing, except that number 7 assigning colors, that did not look so amazing at first. Oh, and this is the dome view where you see the whole thing in there all at once. Let me see if I can, oh, it jumped to the back. Okay, that's all right. I know I have one of these images in here. Well, okay, so there how you see the colors are not so great on that. That's one of the things that I did also was change the colors. So let me go ahead and bring back there. The software that I used for splitting it up is one called GIMP. So it's I think it stands for General Image Manipulation Program. It had a different meaning for the names before. It's been around a while. Some people call it a Photoshop clone, although honestly, its development has kind of gone alongside. If you're just starting out in learning open source software, GIMP is a great one to know. If you're more into drawing with tablets, that sort of thing, then Krita, Krita, might be a better fit. They're both wonderful. I learned to use GIMP first, and so it's my go-to because that way I can work fairly quickly with it. I'm going to switch the view to the monitor only so that my face isn't over here in the corner. So let me do that. Oh, there we go. That should be okay. And I should also note that as I'm doing this, it's not, I don't have the chat displayed, I'm afraid. So I won't be able to respond to anything, but if you do put questions, I'll go back later and look at them and I can respond to them in the comments. And you can also leave questions in the comments too. So I'm over here looking at my GIMP screen, and the end result that I went with was this. Each of those images in there as its own layer. I'm just clicking their visibility off, and this is after I've changed the color to make it a little bit better. Or maybe this is before. Honestly, I've slept a few times since I did this. But I'm going to show you how I did it. And there's a couple different ways. I could make a whole bunch of guides and then slice using a script in here that's or a feature that's for slicing. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. So I'm going to undo that. Yeah, I accidentally grabbed the layer and moved it. So I'm Control Zing to get rid of that. And I'm going to see if I can, oh, yeah, that's what I want to do. That's because I have this selected for move the active layer, but I'm going to pick a layer or guide and move that out of the way. Okay. I could have also gone and removed all layers, but this is what I'm going to do. All right. I like to keep move the active layer selected because this is going to be kind of important. So right now, let me make that a little smaller, make that bigger. Let's see. This is giving me a problem. I'll take that one out of the way as well. There. I need to see at the bottom. I'm going to duplicate these layers so that I have 8 of these. That's probably one too many, but that's okay. I'm not going to worry about it. I can always delete one later. And I'm going to select the crop tool. And I'm going to just eyeball it. And we'll crop this down to here. That's pretty good. And now I'm going to, with it selected, I could adjust it, make it a little bit bigger on the side there. Just grabbed it and selected it. Now I'm going to click in the middle, and now it's cropped. But notice you may see it on yours. I'm not seeing it very well on the screen preview here, but I've got this yellow dotted line all around showing what I've really got going on, which means the whole image is still there in the layers. But the image size is this little window that we're seeing right here. Now, if I go ahead to the Move tool again and confirming that I'm moving the active layer, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the layer that's underneath. And I want to line it up so that it's in that window as well. And I'm going to do it with the top layer made invisible, just so that I can just show you what we're doing. So that's the layer we want, and I have now just selected inside of the big dotted line box. So I'm moving the layer. You see how that's changing what we see in the box? I'll leave it right there. But what I want to do is I want to line them up so that they're not going to match up exactly. The first time I tried to do this, I tried to match them exactly and found they weren't quite scaled exactly the same. I'm going to my top, the top layer here, and I'm just going to make it smaller. And then I'm using Shift Plus on here. Let's see if I have it right here. Or no, it's just, my control keys are all messed up because of how I'm doing this on OBS. I think its control keys got taken some other way. So I'm going to zoom in. Oh, it should be just the plus key. Maybe I'm not using the right key. That's fine. I'll use the other plus key. There we go. Excellent. So I'm using the active layer, not that top layer. Notice how I made it active. And I'm going to line that up just about like that. Okay, perfect. Now I'm going to turn its visibility off, and I'm going to go to the next inline, and I'm going to move it till we get the third image. And just keep following along. And I know this seems like it takes forever, and it does the first time if you don't know how to use GIMP and you're just trying to figure your way around. And the key, every time you accidentally move the wrong thing, just hands off the mouse. Think, okay, what did I just do? Control Z to back your way out of it. When you do get things the way that you like it, or halfway to the way you like it, go ahead and save the file. But don't be afraid to start over if you need to while you're learning. It's a learning experience. So this is the third one now, and we'll do the same thing that we just did. We get the fourth one up there. The one that says building a mosaic. Oh, something I forgot as I go along these, I've been right-clicking over it and going layer to image size, and then it shrinks it down to that smaller size that we're going with. And that's going to be important when we export, because it's easier if they're all the same size that you're, well, the resulting size. Let me move this one. This one is the fifth one, I believe. Frequently also, I'll rename the layers as I go. This one is only 8 layers, so it's not that big of a deal, but sometimes you're doing this with something that has a whole bunch of layers, like 20 or 30 or something. And then you definitely need to be more meticulous as you go through it. Yeah, that looks good. So now we'll do this one is going to be number 6. Yep, that looks good. Oops, see, I forgot to do number 5's layer to image size. I believe there is an option in here to do them all at once. I just got in the habit of, to do the layer to image size all at once. And I'm just doing this quickly, as quickly as I can. Oh, I forgot to mention, yes, all of my the colors that you're seeing here on the software and on the browsers and everything is reversed because I'm using dark modes for everything. It's just something with eyes lately. And let's see, that one looks good. Yeah, and that's the one that will come back and get the colors better because they don't show up that well in the dome. Turn that one or its visibility off. And I think we just have one more to go, and that is 8. And then I'll get rid of that extra layer that I don't need. All right, layer to image size, and I'll get rid of that extra layer. So now I have 8 layers that match up pretty well. Let me put the visibility back to normal for that top one. Excellent. And this is where using export layers, it'll pop up and you can tell it where, and then you can give it the name for it, and you can tell whether it's going to be a PNG or JPEG. The other thing that I wanted to show was making this brighter. So what I did was I made another layer of it and got rid of everything on top. So here's what I want to do. I could just do contrast and brightness changes to this image here, to this layer. But then I'm changing the color of the background and the text. But I want the background and the text to be the same as those other layers, because when I show them, it's going to be showing it more as, oh, I forgot to set this back to the monitor of the camera thing. Okay, because I want them to show either in a series or spread out as more of a just laid out all around the dome. And I want them to match like they do when they're together in that infographic. So the easiest way in this case is for me to make a copy of the layer. So there's my copy. And then I can work on, there's lots of ways you can change it. You could try changing the gamma of the image. You could just do brightness and contrast. Like that's probably super bright. We'll give it a try here. You could also do a split view on this. So let me do that. Click that little split view. And then I can move the split view on it. But see how it's changing the background too? Yeah, we're not going to want that. But that's okay. That's a good one right there. Oh, another trick that I forgot to show is for getting things a little bit brighter is to have 2 copies. Take the top one, set the mixing mode to screen, and then merge down. It just merges it down to the very next layer, and that's pretty good too. So either way, I like the richness of the colors there, but we want to use the same background and text as the other images in the set. So some of the easiest ways to do this, I could use the fuzzy select tool that looks like a little magic wand, and I will select that background. Not worrying about the text just yet. And let me make sure, okay, this does already have an alpha channel. If it did not have an alpha channel, then if I delete this, it would show up as white. So in fact, let me try that. Remove alpha channel. And now I'm going to, this is selected. I'm going to delete it. And see how that's white? Ugh. Just, that's messing with my eyes right now. I'm going to Control Z because I don't want to see that. Wow. Okay. I'm going to go back to it and give it, here's the add alpha channel. There we go. Notice when the alpha channel was removed, the name of that layer was more bold. And then when the alpha channel is added, the name is just back to normal. Okay, so we have it selected and we have an alpha channel on it. So I'm going to go ahead and delete. And we now have the background color that we started with. Let me do Control Shift A to deselect everything. And this could work, but when I did the contrast and brightness. Let's say, what if this text was slightly off-white or yellow or something? Then the brightening and contrast of changes would have really messed with that as well. So I'm going to just delete that as well by selecting it using box select. And I'm just going to select it right along here and delete. And there, it's gone. Okay. So now it's much like the one that I had up, that I did when I was going through this last week. But you just put that on top. And what's the expression? Bob's your uncle? It's right there, looking much brighter. And it looked much better in the dome too once I got it up there, because our dome tends to be a little bit darker. Our projectors are a bit older, so we certainly have to compensate as much as we can without changing the meaning that we're trying to convey with the images. So that worked out pretty nicely. Some other ways to use GIMP for things in the dome is, let's say you have, and I'm not going to go all the way through this because I know I'm running out of time. Yes, I'm running out of time. So, but something else that I did just as a demonstration of the technique, and let me just open the recent file that I used, and that was one of these panoramas that I did. Okay, so I found Mars panorama that I wanted to do, and this was, sorry, moving it so that you can see all of it. And this is after I removed the sky and put in a background for testing. Let me see if I have the, oh yes, there we go. So this is my layer stack. Is that the way? Yeah, layer stack. That's a good way to put it. Over here on the lower right where my face is. So let me get rid of my face from this view. Layer stack. And what I did was I used a few different tricks to create a layer mask. And that let me, this was early on in the process. I made the image high contrast. I changed it to grayscale in color, and that gave me an image mask I was able to use. Let me show the, I'm going to show layer mask right here and turn those off. Okay, so here we go. Let me, perfect. So this was the layer mask that I ended up with. The black parts are the parts that end up removing the image and replacing with transparency. And the white parts are the ones that show the image. So if I go back to not showing the layer mask, we can see, make sure I have the right one here. The transparency is showing through and the image is not. Now this is a lower resolution version of the image that I was working on for, I'm hoping to make this into a tutorial for this one. I'll back out of that. There we go. And it does look pretty cool in the dome. I did not, I don't have a photo of that, although I did show up, or I should say also that if I got rid of this layer mask, so let me duplicate that layer, and then if I delete the layer mask, delete layer mask, it brings back the whole background that was originally part of the image. And let me just undo that. Control Z. I could also apply the image, the layer mask. So apply. By the way, to get those menus, I'm just hovering over the layer in the layer stack here, and I'm right-clicking, and it brings up that menu. I could also find these objects up in here in the layers menu, but it's just, you get a feel for it. It makes it quicker that way. And now that image, if I exported it, would